In Memphis, nothing comes easy, and that's exactly how we like it. This is a city built on hustle, on heart, on grit. And at Carway, our rides are built the same way. Tough, reliable, ready for the grind. No games, no gimmicks, just Memphis-style service. Real, honest, and built on trust. Where grit meets grind, you meet your next ride. Carway, grit, grind, and Pink Beetles. In Memphis, we know a thing or two about resilience. From the grindhouse to the Delta, we protect what's ours. But when pests invade your home, it's time to fight back. Grade A Pest knows how to handle what crawls, flies, and bites. With local experience and guaranteed results.
I'm Reggie with Grade A Pest Control. We service the Memphis metro area. That also includes DeSoto and Fayette County as well.
Grade A Pest has the entire Mid-South covered. So if bugs and pests put you to the test, let Grade A solve your problem. Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to your Wednesday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, and we are proudly brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Uncle Buck threw up the bat signal about an hour ago. Work got in the way, and I had to call in, go to the bullpen, tap the arm, go to the bullpen, call in my guy, Kenny Stubblefield, to come in and help me talk out some weird stuff going on Grizzlies Twitter right now. Kenny, how are you on this rainy Wednesday?
Man, I'm good. I love rain. I know what's coming, and so I am excited yet a little bit nervous because Memphis freaks out at any inclement weather, whatever it is. And the fact that they're projecting, a couple of days ago it was at 19 to 25 inches of snow. I don't know where it's at now. I haven't looked today, but man, let me tell you, things are going to get buck wild in Memphis if it snows as much as they say it's going to snow this weekend.
Yeah, I'm seeing like a lot of the projections are kind of walking back a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm seeing is we're going to get anywhere north of 3 inches, which a lot of people will tell you is a lot. The old joke used to be, I'm going to pause right there for a second. The old joke used to be like snow in the South is a lot like a college football. Yeah. Snow in the South is a lot like a college football championship up north. It just doesn't happen all that often, so we don't know what to do with it. Right. Turns out Indiana won the national championship this year, so that joke kind of falls a little flat. But I got a theory, Kenny, as my guy Andre joins us here in the chat. Man, appreciate you being here, hanging out with us at 11 a.m. Central. If you're on X, Facebook, anywhere like that, give us a like, give us a retweet on X. Then join us on YouTube in the comment section. It's going to be popping off today because we got some hot topics we're going to talk about.
Yep.
But before that, Kenny, I do have a theory about the snow forecast that we're going to talk about in our real versus counterfeit segment. Death taxes.
Can I just show you this before we move on? Look at this. Look at my weather app. This is the Apple weather app, and it's backwards. But right here, it says precipitation total snow 27 to 33 inches.
That is wild, bro.
That's crazy.
That is insane. I lived in Maine for 1 year when I was in high school, and we got about 12 or 13 feet of snow. And I just y'all can't comprehend how much snow that is. 30 inches of snow in Memphis would shut this place down for a millennia.
I'm just
forever.
I'm just saying, like, when I was in high school, we didn't go to school for a couple of days because there was a threat of rain and high winds, right? Like, and it was during the wintertime, so there could have been some snow. We didn't go to school. If we get 27 to 33 inches of snow, my kids ain't going to school till May. I'm telling you.
That's it.
Like,
That's it.
It ain't happening.
I don't know that our bridges and our infrastructure can handle that, because then when it melts off, we're going to have flooding and all the stuff that comes with it afterwards. That creek right there, Poplar and East High School, is going to be overflowing onto Poplar and into the park there. Like, it's just going to be wild, man. But I do have a theory about that this kind of ties in perfectly. Real or counterfeit, in Memphis, particularly the Mid-South, huge snow forecasts like this, a week, 10 days out, are made by local and big chain grocery stores to push product, particularly milk, bread, bottled water, paper towels. I think they order like a surplus and then say, hey, go ahead and throw this up there and let's push all this product out.
See, you are tapping into like the inner conspiracy theorist that I am. Like, I don't think anything's an accident. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe that the grocery store chains are like, well, I guess we need to stock up. I think there are certain perishable items that are about to go expired in their back warehouses, and they're like, all right, unleash the winter storm watch. We got to get rid of this shit. Let's get this out of here. Let's go.
100%. I think I guaranteed that some Kroger bigwig was sitting up there in Cincinnati, Ohio, and was like, you know what? This snowstorm's coming through. Let me call down there at WREG and WMC and let these weather channels know, hey, we need a big, big projection. Because in Memphis, in my experience, when they project 15, 20, 33 inches of snow, like, we get a dusting and some freezing rain. But when it's a dusting, that's when we get in trouble.
Yes.
And so I think this was all a grand plan to sell product. I hadn't checked like Kroger and Walmart stocks recently, but I imagine they dipped a little bit. So they made the call. They threw up the bat signal for the weather.
They threw up the bat signal. One of the things that I'm most excited about watching over these next few days is the local newscast, the local stations in the city of Memphis. Because we've got some weather people that are in our city now that are pretty savage when it comes to their willingness to clap back on Twitter when folks get ultimately like pissed off that they're talking about somewhere down in Mississippi where you guys are from, snowstorms, and it's like right in the middle of smack dab in the middle of NFL playoffs, right? Like, and people will go, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Why are you preempting this crazy NFL game for this nonsense out of Ripley, right?
Yeah.
And what I have enjoyed over the last few seasons is we have some weather people in the city of Memphis that are not afraid to clap back, and it is turned into some hilarity. Like, it has gotten really funny. Like, videos have been, like, Twitter videos have been made, you know, how dare you question what we did. Anyway, it's great. It's a subplot that I'm kind of excited about.
Absolutely. I love it, because people get all bent out of shape. Like lives are in danger here, but you're worried about missing a few minutes of The Simpsons or of a football game or whatever, Grey's Anatomy. I don't even know what people are watching anymore these days. Like, you're worried about that, and we're going to get 33. That's almost 3 feet of snow, Kenny. Like that would be more than a lot of these rednecks that I know back home in the hills and hollers in North Mississippi have seen in their lifetime. Yeah. All combined. 3 feet, 33 inches of snow. Come on, man.
Yeah, I put my 2 feet together yesterday. I wear size 14 shoes. I put my 2 feet together and put it up next to my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, and I was like, "That's how much snow we might get this weekend." And she's like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna?" Yeah. Anyway, they were super excited, but it's crazy. I'm excited about it. I'm a nerd. I love the weather stuff.
Bro, I love snow. I love weather stuff like that too. My grandmother and I we're like the two that always love the snow. So anytime there's a chance of snow, we call it, like, you see the forecast? Like, yeah. No, because we just love to look at it. It's quiet. It's peaceful. I love the snow. I love making snow cream too. Have you ever made snow cream?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this, like, 33 inches of snow, you're going to have plenty of
really good
prime snow.
Yeah, prime snow cream snow. Yes. There's going to be prime snow for snowball fights, for what's the snowman making,
a fort,
snow
like
cream,
all the kind of
fort.
stuff.
You can do it all. You can have a good old time. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. And I was talking to a guy yesterday. He knows a guy who there's just not a lot of snow removal around the area. Obviously, in Memphis, we just don't do that.
Yeah.
And so there's a landscaping company. They bring in a guy from Cleveland that they like subcontract out every year when there's a big snow like this. And just in the few days of snow removal at local businesses and plazas and shopping malls and hospitals, like he'll make like $60,000 in a weekend just removing snow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's a side hustle I could get into. I got a truck.
We can start a Bluff City Media snow removal.
Dude, we can get a snow plow with our logo in the front middle of it and like just riding around Bluff City Media. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, we can even podcast from the truck and then jump out, clean some snow, and then come back and podcast some more. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'll be like, hang on, Kenny. I'll be right back. I got to go get this driveway real quick. That's $1 million idea right there. Kenny, we'll talk off air. We've been talking about how we can diversify Bluff City Media into different avenues. Snow removal might be the next venture starting this weekend.
I'm so there. I'm so into it.
Absolutely. Well, hey, y'all bunker down, hunker down, get ready for that snow. Go ahead and fill up your cars, get your milk and bread for your milk sandwiches, your toilet paper, and all the things that you need, because it's going to get dicey this weekend. And like Kenny said, Memphis folks freak out. Like, we can't drive as a whole in the city of Memphis when it's regular. Like, buddy, when we get some snow on the ground, it's going to be even dicier with these folks out here.
It's going to be fun. It'll be Memphis at its finest, I think.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be Memphis at its finest.
What a great transition, because speaking of Memphis at its finest, Kenny, we're 41 games into this season. We got the beginnings of a 3-game home stand starting tonight at the FedEx Forum against the Atlanta Hawks. They say home is where the heart is. I guess we'll find out as we start talking about the Grizzlies. We are the $2 Sports Show, proudly brought to you by FanDuel, the official odds provider of Bluff City Media, along with Grind City Brewing. And we've got some watch parties coming up with Grind City Brewing. Super excited to be partnered with those guys. What a great group, great beer, great venue, great atmosphere. It's just so much fun to be hanging out down there on the river with those guys. And we're going to be there next Friday night, January 30th, 6:30 p.m. No snow projected for that weekend. So we're going to come out. We're going to watch the Grizzlies. Ja Morant is the mayor of New Orleans. Going to be playing at New Orleans, 6:30 tip on ESPN. An opportunity to continue our winning ways that we hopefully start on this 3-game homestand against the Hawks, and then a couple very gettable teams this weekend. One of them being the Pelicans, and the other one being the jokerless Nuggets. But Kenny, I'm stoked, man. We got some great watch parties coming up. Super excited to hang out down there. You and I are going to be going down there some next week to film some stuff. Super excited about what that's going to look like. Super stoked for our partnership with Grind City Brewing.
Oh, they're the best, man. That place is so beautiful. I can't tell you, like, we've enjoyed going down there during the day. Like, we do a lot of college football Saturday stuff during this football season. It's been a great time. They're such great people.
Yeah.
Super, like, I'll tell you, when you at times, like, you'll go to certain places and do live experiences, and sometimes you feel like a little bit of an intruder, like you're getting in the way. Like, especially me and Rusty, we're big dudes. Like, we go into a place and it's like you kind of tend to take over. Grind City Brewing is one of the places that we do watch parties, or we've done the College Football Saturday show. We're transitioning to do more Grizzlies watch party type stuff with them. And I'm telling you, like, the people that work there are like the most helpful, inviting, like, friendly people that you can interact with. And I can't tell you how great it is to be there with them, partnering with them, and have these shows. And at night when we have these watch parties, oh my God, like, we go during the day, and we've been during the day during College Football Saturdays, but I am so excited about being down there at night in the tap room, watching games and doing some post-game bounces and stuff like that down there. It's going to be a great time.
Absolutely. On the projector with sound. It's going to be a blast. Y'all clear your schedules. Make sure you're there. Bring some friends. It's going to be an awesome time hanging out. It's going to be food. It's going to be great beers. Hopefully some great basketball as the Grizzlies get a win over New Orleans after starting tonight against the Hawks. Kenny, hang on a second. Shelby's like killing whoever. Like, somebody has the audacity to walk by the house here.
Oh, Dude, real quick, my dog Striker, he has one of those barking moments. Like he'll bark at everything that walks past the house. But today he had one of those, like, it's kind of a high pitched bark. Today it was a deep guttural, I'm gonna shred you if I see you. And we looked out the window and there was nothing there, Rusty. Like nothing. It was so weird. I was like, Striker, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah. I saw a meme the other day. It was like, I've saved the family from 2 garbage bags, or 2 plastic bags in the wind, the mailman, 4 squirrels, and a fart, and yet they remain ungrateful. And
they're like, ungrateful. How dare you?
Yeah, like, and Shelby, like, she sounds so ferocious because she's a Doberman, so she looks and sounds ferocious. But like, what she doesn't understand, and the people who walk by the house don't understand, is if they got inside, she's gonna hide from them. So like, she sounds way scarier than what she actually is. God love her.
Well, and I'll tell you what. I think Striker's a little bitty dog, but I think that dog, like, he's right behind me right now, and he's looking at me like, why are you talking about me? Like, but that dude is, he's a little feisty little MFer, man. Like, he can really get after it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Grizzlies. Sorry.
Yeah, speaking of getting after it, the Memphis Grizzlies play the Hawks tonight, and over on FanDuel, the Grizzlies are a 1.5-point home favorited on the money line at -126. And I thought this was an interesting bet, Kenny, as the Grizzlies have gotten off to a hot start in their last 2 games. We've had 4 consecutive games where we built a 16-point lead, most of which have been in the first half before kind of falling apart in the second half, except for the game in London. But over on FanDuel, you can make a bet on the first team to get to 25 points in the first quarter. If you think it's the Hawks, that's +104. If you think the Grizzlies are favored to get there because of our hot starts at -120. And if you think it's going to be ugly basketball, you can get +1,000 that neither team hits 25 points in the first quarter.
That's not happening. Like, don't take that bet. Like, the Grizzlies are a good offensive team. I don't know much about where the Hawks are now that they got rid of Trae Young. But the Grizzlies will absolutely get the 25 points.
Yeah, I mean, we get to 25 points pretty early in most first quarters because we start hot like we did against Orlando, and we're going to need that tonight. Yeah, I'm curious what the Hawks look like without Trae Young, but they still have Jalen Johnson, who is a freaking bucket. I'm pulling up who are the scoring leaders and where we. And so Atlanta is, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12. They're like 9th in the league, averaging 117.7 points per game. Grizzlies are averaging 115.1 points per game. So they're a little bit ahead of us. They can score. They got dudes who can score. You know, Knock can score. Again, Jalen Johnson's having a freaking career year. They got some guys who can fill it up, and they've got guys like Dyson Daniel who can put the clamps on your best scorers, and same with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Jalen Johnson leads in with 23 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game, as well as 8 assists per game. He's been a ton of fun to watch for this Hawks team, Kenny. They will also be without Zachary Ricochet and Kristaps Porzingis, as they're both still out. Ricochet with his knee and Porzingis with that Achilles injury.
So is Porzingis out with the Achilles, or does he still have that illness issue that he's been dealing with for the last couple of seasons?
It's listed as Achilles. I think he had that little Achilles strain because, you know, they've been super like cautious about that. And he had one a couple of weeks ago. It says he'll be reevaluated in 1 week, 2 days ago. So he won't be looked at again until next week. Ricochet is same. He'll be reevaluated on their injury report 2 days ago. He'll be reevaluated in a week. So both those guys are still going to be out tonight, but they're still a very formidable team without both of those guys, as they can score and score in a hurry. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity tonight to kind of get ahead, being on the home court. What are you looking for from the Grizzlies in our first game at home after the European trip?
More of what we saw in the London game, right? More of Ja Morant playing at the level that we know that he can play at. The Grizzlies led from start to finish against the Orlando Magic in that game and looked pretty, like, utterly dominant, and they're still missing quite a few players that are rotation pieces. I have been as much as excited as I am to see Zach Edey and Ja Morant play together. There is something about that Cedric Coward Ja Morant pairing that I am really, really, really excited to continue to see grow, because Ja Morant, and shockingly enough to like, and I just want everybody to like realize this, Grizzlies Twitter, basketball is a team sport, and it's really, really important to have guys that you mesh well with out there. There is a reason why Desmond Bane, as good of a basketball player as he is, was not going to long-term be a solution with Ja Morant because it just wasn't going to work. And they just didn't mesh well together. Cedric Coward provides a level of athleticism and playmaking that I would say even at this point, like, he's very close to being right there with Desmond Bane in the playmaking role, well, in the playmaking ability area. And I think as tough as this season is, crazy and as controversial, if you will, as this season has been for the Grizzlies, what's a really important pairing that to pay attention to is the Ja Morant Cedric Coward pairing, is letting to see that grow, because Cedric Coward is turning himself into a guy that is going to be a focal point for this team moving forward.
Exactly. And Ja Morant makes Jalen Wells better. He made freaking Zaire Williams better. So there's no way that he's not going to make Cedric Coward better, if nothing else, for taking some of the attention and pressure off of Cedric and allowing him to be able to play his game, because Ja Morant is actually playing basketball, shockingly.
All of a sudden we saw Ja Morant out there, and Jalen Wells started shooting the ball better, right? Like, when you have really good players out there, the supplementary role players tend to step their games up. It just is what it is in basketball. And so I want to see more of the same, more of what we saw out of London. I don't want to see any more of the Berlin stuff. I don't want to see any more of the previous games where Ja wasn't available. I want to see some consistency. Right?
And we need that, and Ja Morant needs that, which we'll get to him here in just a few minutes. If he's going to either increase his trade value and or extension value, he needs to play 70 to 80% of the rest of our 41 games, which we'll get to that here in a minute. But this is a good litmus test for us. I feel like these two teams are very similar. We're 18th in net differential. The Hawks are 20th in net differential, offensive and defensive points allowed, points against. They're 20 and 25. We're 18 and 23. They've had some injuries. We've had some injuries. This is a good litmus test of one of our peers, Kenny. And so, like you said, if we can go out and play and get the Ja Morant that we got on Sunday, I don't know that this game's really going to be close. I think that there's a world where we lap this team, and this is a fun, homecoming for the Memphis Grizzlies and one Ja Morant. I anticipate Ja Morant to get a warm welcome, but if we get lazy or disinterested or disengaged Ja within the first few minutes, the rumblings are going to start in FedEx Forum and on Twitter. That's for sure. We'll get to.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, we'll get to Ja and Jaren here in just a second. But also over on FanDuel, if you want to bet with your heart and not your head and bet on this Memphis Grizzlies basketball team, I've got a PRA FanDuel total bet for you.
I love this.
I do too. Points, rebounds, and assists. Total points, rebounds, and assists. So over on FanDuel, you can bet in a same-game parlay, Ja to go over his 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So, again, he would have had that in London when he had 24 points and 13 rebounds, 13 assists by itself. You throw a few rebounds in there, he nailed it. I'm taking Santi on the under 24.5. It just feels like kind of a less Santi-type game. But I'm banking on a big Cedric Coward and Cam Spencer game. Cedric over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Cam Spencer over 15.5. I'll get you plus 1198, Kenny, on the odds. I feel good about this. Scared money don't make money. You got plus 1198, big odds. What are your thoughts? You think we can hit all this?
I really like this bet a lot. I think this is a great bet. This does kind of feel like a Santi Aldama game where it's just maybe him just kind of filling in the gaps and floating where he needs to float, and maybe not being the focal point, which that's Santi Aldama. Like it
feels like a 6-8 point, but 12 rebound kind of night for him.
Yeah, I could see that being the case. If they get, the only one that makes me a little bit concerned is Cam over 15.5. That's the only thing that concerns me. He had one semi-decent game against Orlando in London. That was kind of the follow-up of a lot of really rough. His box score, his stat lines have not been great. He's not shot the ball well. He's honestly been benched in the fourth a couple of games. We'll see if we get Cam hot off the rip. in the first quarter, the first quarter is going to tell us everything about Cam Smith. I'm tripping. I'm thinking Jalen Wells. God bless. Cam Spencer. Yeah, that's my fault. I like all of it, except for I'll take all of it. Yeah.
I was about to say, because Cam in 5 of his last 6 games would have hit the over on this. He had 13. He had 10 points, no rebounds, and 3 assists on Sunday. But the game before that, 7, 7, and 11, 12, 4, 13, 7, 4, 11, 14, 3, 5, 21, 8, 8. Like, Cam has been on a tear, doing the little things that we need. Ja Morant coming back might dampen that a little bit. I've enjoyed Cam Spencer being like the pass first option on that second unit.
I think, and I'm glad I reread it, because when it says Cam over 15.5, my brain instantly went to Jalen Wells. Cam, I think Cam is going to benefit from having Ja Morant come back. I think he's going to benefit from having Ty Jerome come back, because
he's playing out of position.
He's playing out of position. He is not a NBA point guard.
Nope.
He can do it. He can play make. You see it with his assist numbers. He can do it. But he functions really well in that off ball, not having to be the guy to facilitate the entire team, especially with his shot. And so I could absolutely see Cam kind of reverting back to what we saw at the beginning of the season, where he was having those amazing 3-point shooting games, maybe taking a dip in his assists for a little bit. And that's fine, because you'll have Ja Morant and hopefully Ty Jerome back soon. But yeah, I like all of that. I think all of that is good. I think it's a great bet.
And doing the math even further back, so far in this calendar year, we played 8 games. Cam would have went over in 6 of the 8. So shout out to Cam Spencer. Shout out to the guy coming off the bench, getting a little motion.
Yep.
We skirted around a little bit. The issue yesterday, or the statement was made yesterday, that Ja Morant officially has said, I do not want to be traded. I want to stay in Memphis. Cool. Great story. We had Scoop B over on the Anthony Sane show last week. Great interview. I like Scoop. This is nothing against Scoop. Great dude. Some of that felt like carried a little water for Ja Morant, because I think he's been hurt, but I think there's some reporting and some thoughts that Ja Morant might have purposely been sitting out because he's upset with the system, upset with contract, Zach Kleiman, whatever the case may be. Does it change your mind, or does it change sway your opinion at all? I know you were part of the crowd that swung back hard on Ja Morant the other day after his little dancing video, before he even played on Sunday. But he did his little hip shimmy on Saturday, and Kenny was like, I'm all in. I'm back in. Give me Ja Morant.
Hey, group chat,
Kenny was salivating.
I was salivating. The group chat was hot. It was crazy. Yeah.
So does this change your opinion about how things have transpired, Ja Morant going forward at all? Or are you still, like the rational side of the show, a wait and see type mentality?
Listen, if the Grizzlies can make it work with Ja Morant, you keep Ja Morant. He is the best player to ever put on a Memphis Grizzlies jersey. You make it work, right? I think the reality of the situation has set in. And I think that this is a good thing. Because and I'll be the first one to admit it, I can be swayed by the emotions of the moment and all that too. But this is a business, right? This is basketball. NBA basketball is not a college basketball situation. This is an NBA franchise that has to spend money, make money wisely. And I think what Ja Morant is realizing is that, again, as Scoop said in the interview with Anthony Sane, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And what that means is not even just the situation, not even just the ball playing, not even what's going on the court is greener, but the money is not always greener on the other side. Does that make sense? Like, he's coming out and saying, I don't want to be traded, because legitimately it is very clear now that the only team that can extend him where he wants to be extended with the amount of money that he's making is the Memphis Grizzlies.
Right here on my wall.
That logo behind you. And I mean, when trade destinations are popping up, and it's Miami, Minnesota, Milwaukee's a part of it, Toronto's a part of it, and all 4 of those teams are coming back and saying, here's what we're willing to offer for Ja Morant. And it's no draft picks coming back to the Grizzlies. And in terms of, I think, Milwaukee, they're saying, hey, for you to get Ryan Rollins, we need a first-round draft pick this year right now. Like, that's not happening from the Grizzlies' perspective. They are not doing that. They are not going to send away assets. They're not going to send away. They're not going to receive bad money. They're not going to do that. And so Ja Morant will not be moved for a bad deal. Yeah. And I think Ja Morant is realizing, I want to make as much money as I can possibly make because this is a business. And the only place that I can do that is with the Memphis Grizzlies. Meanwhile, man, I got my logo on their back. Like, I got their logo on my back. I've been here for 7-8 years. Like, I've got multiple houses in this city. I've got an opportunity to build something here and really shape the narrative and change the narrative in a real way. Yeah. And I think that's the reality of the situation. This is business. This is a business thing.
100%. 100%. Real quick sidebar. Shout out to our guy Cohen down in New Zealand. Said going for 30 tonight, baby. I said this on the show yesterday. Like, I'm ready for Cedric to just be uncorked and just let him go, because it just feels like he's kind of being a rookie, being a good teammate. You know, he's almost hit 30 that night that I was in the freaking building and we benched him for the first quarter. Afterwards, didn't play me in the second, and it derailed all the momentum. So we've got Wayno in the great down under of Australia. We got the Kiwi Cohen here hanging out with us today.
Shout out. Being here with us. International too.
International. West City Media is going international, baby. Shout out. But yeah, man, like the more this thing progresses, Kenny, two things can be true. I think if we had gotten a home run offer, Ja Morant would be gone.
And I think when they do it, like if someone comes back tomorrow and says, we're willing to give you everything you want for Ja Morant, I would suspect that Ja Morant would probably be gone from the Memphis Grizzlies.
And so two things can be true.
Yeah.
If we had gotten that offer, he'd be gone. And this was a scare tactic / wake up call / shaking Ja Morant of look at your value on the open market. Nobody's going to extend you like we will. Nobody wants you on their team like we do. They're wanting us to attach a pick to send you out like we had to do for Fat Marcus Smart last year. Right. Like, you're in that tier right now from a trade value. You can't argue that because he's still here. I think hopefully this is the wake-up call we needed. Again, we're going to need 70%, 80% of our remaining 41 games from Ja Morant if we're going to be a competitive playoff team or even playing team this year. A. B, if Ja Morant expects to be extended, and I think if he has a monster back half of the year, Kenny, I think there's a world where there's a good faith contract extension conversation this summer with the Grizzly front office and Ja Morant and his team. But nothing he's done over the last 2 years tells me anything or shows me anything about how that's going to change, what's going to happen in the back half of the year. And so if you ask me right now, feet to the fire, is Ja Morant on this basketball team after the February 5th trade deadline? My answer is yes, I think he is. But if you ask me next October when we lace him up for training camp, is Ja Morant on this basketball team? I think my answer is still no, because we are notorious draft night movers. And that's when we make our big trades. That's when Zach Kleiman takes his big swings. And that's what I was saying in the group chat earlier is I don't think we're going to move Ja Morant and be massive buyers at the trade deadline. ZK's never done that. Yes, we've went after KD. We've gone after Jimmy Butler. We've tried. But we've clearly set a limit on what we're willing to do to make the deal happen. But where we make moves happen is at the deadline. Or at the draft night, trying to move up and go get our guys. What if there's a world where you can turn Ja Morant, maybe Ja Morant and some picks into a shot at a Caleb Wilson, AJ Debanza, even a Darren Peterson at the number 1 overall pick? That's going to be a hefty haul to get there. But with all the picks that we have, Ja Morant and some of the players we have, there's a world you can move up and go get your guy. I don't think Ja Morant is long-term on this team, because I just feel like if we're this fed up with it, the front office has to be fed up with all the antics and the Ja Morant nonsense, non-basketball nonsense that we get.
Yeah. I mean, I think they are I don't think they are as emotional about it as we are as fans.
Probably.
They definitely tend to. I think there's a level of wanting to protect the locker room, wanting to protect from distractions, things like that. But to not influence the guys they look at as guys that could be potential, I guess tent poles for this team moving forward, and that's Cedric Howard and Zach Edey. So yes, if the right deal comes up, I don't think Ja Morant will be on this team. But let me tell you, if they, that's a good question.
We'll get to that when you finish.
Yeah, if they succeed and they do well and they continue to push, I just wonder how much they really care about that. Like right now, in terms of this season with the playoffs, with the play-in, all that kind of stuff. Like, what are they?
Sure.
Do they really care about any of that, or is this all about getting themselves prepared for next season? Right.
It feels right because you look at the injury reports. It feels like there's a bit of a punt on this season with like Zach Edey's now out 6 more weeks. BC's 4 to 6. Scottie Pippen Jr. 4 to 6. Like we're getting Ty Jerome back. But it does feel like we're kicking the can down the road a little bit. Not saying that we're tanking, but I don't know that we're putting as big of a priority on this season as an organization as the fans were, whatever you want to say. But agreed, but what if, like, this kind of goes into this question from Cohen here. What would it take for Ja Morant to get that max extension from the Grizzlies, in your opinion, Kenny? You got a thought, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
So for me, Cohen, that's a great question because I don't know that, like, even if he played in 90% of our games on the back half of the season, which is 37 games down the stretch, 37 out of 41, say he gets us into the playoffs, we're a first-round matchup with Oklahoma City again, or even in the play-in, and we get to that. I'm going to need to see at least 90% of our games for the rest of the season, see him be productive, successful, healthy, engaged in a playoff series, and then that's going to have to carry into next summer. I think for me, if he has a stellar back half of the season, Kenny, where he's that 24-13 guy that we saw on Sunday, and he's engaged, being a leader, coaching up Cedric, coaching up SPJ, Ty Jerome, SPJ when he comes back, being a good teammate, I think that buys some equity for me to give him a chance heading into next season. But I still need to see a full season's worth of work before I even enter the conversation for a max contract extension. Because even if he played 37 games and hit 90% of the remaining games, that's only 55 games, a career low this year that he would play. And you don't give somebody who's giving you 55 games a year, in my opinion, a max contract. You're extending the idea of Ja Morant, but the player is not great. That's my take on Paul George. The idea of Paul George is great. The player you get now is not quite that idea anymore. So for me, I there's nothing he could do the rest of this year that would convince me for a max extension. It would have to be this year plus well into next year.
I agree with you. I honestly think it's a little bit even simpler than that. I think if I agree with your take on when the Grizzlies are the most active as a franchise in terms of being willing to move off pieces, and that's at the draft, right? Like they are notorious for that. I'm still skeptical. There's a large contingency of Grizzlies Twitter. There's a large contingency of content creators around the Memphis Grizzlies that believe that the Grizzlies are going to be buyers at the trade deadline. What it feels like to me, gut instinct tells me that the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be buyers and that they're going to be the third team of a big trade where they're kind of filling in gaps, right? Using some of those contracts, like maybe a Brandon Clark, a Conchar, maybe even a KCP contract, where they're helping fill the gaps, right? Potentially bringing back some draft picks, right?
Like what if we're the third team that gets Cat out of New York, basically what you're saying. It gets him to Golden State or the Lakers or Milwaukee, somewhere else, but we're the third team that brings on some salary to make it work so that we can then have more flexibility, right? That's what you're saying?
What if we're a part of a trade that gets Giannis out of Milwaukee, right? Like that's kind of what I'm thinking. And so I guess if they are, if I don't think Josh play on the court, I don't think anything like that has anything in reality has anything to do with what they do in extension wise. If they are able to get an offer where they're able to get back into the draft and build on top of Zach Edey and Cedric Howard, kind of a new path forward for this Grizzlies team in terms of building around Zach and Cedric, then I think that's the direction they head in. If they're able to get a deal like that at the draft, to get back into the 2026 draft, because everybody was so excited about how good this Grizzlies team could be at the beginning of the season, how good this team could be, plus the fact that Phoenix was going to be terrible and Orlando might not be good and Washington was going to be terrible. And so you had the opportunity to not only be really, really good, but also be right smack dab in the lottery, maybe a couple of picks in the lottery in one of the deepest drafts we've ever seen. That ain't happening right now. Like Phoenix is better than what we thought, and Phoenix's pick is not going to be as good as what we thought. I legitimately think that probably Zach Kleiman is probably taking a look at this NBA draft and saying, I have got to figure out a way to get right smack in the middle of that lottery. And so if that means using the Grizzlies pick, whatever, if they're not in the play-in, if they're not in the playoffs, they're there. If that means getting off being a filler gap team for a big trade to get Kat or Giannis out of Milwaukee and New York at the trade deadline, plus at the draft, how do we get back into that draft and go get our guy? I think that's when you'll start seeing it. So to extend Ja, I think the only way they extend Ja is if they don't get what they're looking for to get back into this draft. Does that make sense?
That's an excellent point, because at this point, basketball may be behind us as far as the decision-making process. Like Ja's attitude and willingness to just continually be a malcontent, and what that influence has on the team as a whole, the development of this team, the runway, the fan base. Like, I could see a world where we're just like, look, like enough's enough. We got a great stash. Kenny, you and I went live on a Sunday morning about a week or two before the NBA draft when Desmond Bane was moved for an incredible haul, a historic haul, 5 draft picks and a couple of players. Like, it was massive. And so I would not be surprised if we had that same kind of notification. I agree with Wayno here too. It's show improved time for ZK, right? Like, he was super busy heading into the start of the season by signing Ty Jerome and re-signing Santi and some of the things that we did. And we're improving in the draft, but we're still going to need some type of veteran presence to help with this team, which is why, in my opinion, and maybe it's well known that I'm a Jaren stan around here, but Jaren is a guy that I would consider keeping because of his availability, his consistentness. A 20-point per game DPOI candidate year in and year out is not something that walks in the door every day. Not that a Ja Morant is either. But would you rather have the guy who's played 77 games since 2022 or been your most consistent and available guy since 2022 who, yes, has flaws? And we'll talk about Jaren more here in a minute. But, like, we're going to need some veteran presence to help grow and develop this team into the team it can be. I don't know that Ja Morant's a part of that, but the onus is on Zach Kleiman to find out who is.
Yeah, he is in such a weird spot because obviously he's made some pretty heavy decisions for this team in the last couple of seasons. Obviously,
sure.
Taylor Jenkins, Tomas Isolo, extending Jaren, denying Ja his extension right now, because like I think we do need to take a step back and say, like, if Ja Morant had been extended this offseason, none of this would have happened. Like, all of this nonsense that's going on right now, none of this would have happened. Every bit of Ja's frustration is about the fact that he hasn't been paid. He just wants his money. And it's fair. Like that, I don't think that's an unfair thing. Based on what we know about Zach Kleiman, he is an upfront dude. Like, he is a complete, like, you saw it on Desmond Bane has talked about this numerous times, specifically on the Pivot podcast, which is one of the best podcasts in the world. He talked about how he was on vacation with his family on Father's Day and got a phone call from Zach Kleiman saying, "Hey, this is what's going on. I just want to let you know before all of this goes down." He didn't find out on Twitter like most folks do. He didn't find out from a Shams tweet.
Exactly.
He didn't find out. He found out from Zach Kleiman, "We're moving you." There is a level of willingness to be upfront and transparent with his players, and I would guarantee you that extended to Ja's camp too, right? we want to extend you, but wait, right?
Mhm.
And Ja was not willing to wait.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Because Ja couldn't see past the end of his nose to see that that's ZK's way of saying, look, if you wait and you go make an all NBA team, you stand to make so much more money. Go play, go be available, earn the money. You're not going to earn that anywhere else.
Yep.
You're basically hitting reset anywhere else you go. Somebody will extend Ja. Let's say we do ultimately trade him and he goes to Sacramento and he rides out the rest of his contract there. Ja Morant's not going to be unemployed. Like somebody will give him a contract, but the likelihood of that being a max contract is less on the open market than it is in Memphis. Should he just lace him up, show up for work, and freaking play basketball? Cohen brings up a good point. It's so sad that we're just hoping that our star player plays more than 10 games in a row. It's been 3 seasons since he's played 7 or more in a row, Kenny. And we're sitting here like, if that was different, if Ja Morant was playing 68, 69 games a year, like, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be talking more about our wing situation, that Jalen Wells is not the wing of the future. We need to be finding somebody else. Like, we'd find something else to complain about, but we'd also be complaining as a top 4 or 5 seed in the West, because when Ja Morant plays consistently, this team, it doesn't matter. You get whoever is out there, this team is going to be a competitive team in the Western Conference. We've just had to have these silly arguments about, well, you know, Jaren can't be this, but it's like, well, it's because the superstar's not playing. And if Ja Morant just was a serious basketball player, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yep. And I think Wayno hit it on the head too. I just want serious players on this team, right?
Like I said in the group chat, man, I want nerds. I want dudes who just build Legos, do puzzles, color, whatever, and just hoop. Like I've had the melodramatic global superstar, and it's cool, but it's produced no banners, no championships, no nothing in Memphis.
Yeah. I do suspect that there's probably real serious conversations in Team Morant that if they don't get this thing right and play more ball, be more consistent, be more professional in the way that they handle things, there is not a guarantee that anybody will extend him.
No.
Like, there's not a guarantee that he will get anything that he's looking for in terms of the max contract, in terms of whatever. Like, other teams won't, like, there's a lot of situations. Other teams won't put up with this, right? They won't put up with the. They won't
you
put
think
up.
Pat Riley's going to put up with this?
Yeah, they won't put up with the lack of play, but they also won't put up with the melodrama and the amateurism that comes out of that camp.
Yeah,
and I think you're starting to see, and I think that this has been a wake up call for the Memphis Grizzlies. I said this on Anthony's show yesterday or 2 days ago, to be more professional too. Like, the Grizzlies needed to be more professional. Like, sometimes the worst thing you can do, the hardest thing to do when you're training a dog is to, like, if you let them go for multiple years making really bad habits and you don't discipline them, the hardest thing to do is to train a dog that has ingrained traits already, implanted in them.
Well, it's like setting boundaries with people, man. Like, people who have no boundaries look scary to them. And Ja Morant has had no boundaries placed around him his entire life. And the Memphis Grizzlies didn't set any boundaries either. And so what does Ja Morant do? He walks all over him. He sits out. He lets his camp and his team influence and do all this kind of stuff. And we've just let it pass because we've been too afraid of upsetting Ja. Because what happens when you stand up to Ja? He quits on your team in the Halloween game that I was in the building for, just sulks in the corner the rest of the game because nobody's ever told him to set boundaries. And so it is high time that the Memphis Grizzlies set boundaries around what they're willing to put up with from Ja Morant. Not to get all therapyized on y'all, but like, boundaries need to be set of what we're willing to put up with as a franchise, and no longer let Ja run this team and be a part of this team's decision-making if he's not going to be making good decisions on the court, decisions that allow him to play. And I wouldn't be the least bit of surprised if that photo that we saw of Adam Silver talking to T and Uncle Phil was exactly that. Like, we as a league are setting boundaries. We're done with this amateur hour mess that y'all are doing. Either play basketball or get ready to learn Shanghai, buddy, because we are not going to put up with it as a business. Like, can you think about, I used to be in the corporate rat race, and I was in corporate ladders and all the time. Malcontents like this, it didn't show up to work. And I know it's different, sports and corporate, but like, you didn't stick around very long and you didn't have long careers. And so I think the best thing for John Morant, as Wayno says here, is to flourish in the Memphis Grizzlies uniform. But the only person that can make that decision is John Morant, and that's going to take boundaries and accountability from us as fans and the organization on John Morant.
Yeah, and I agree. Wayno is cooking in the chat today. Everybody is supposed to be on the same team, right? Players, coaches, GMs. We talk about them as separate entities against each other. It breeds a toxic culture if you do that. I completely like the whole conversation, and I would even suggest to we can't impact what the Grizzlies do. We can't impact what John Morant's team does. I would suggest as a media company that talks about the Grizzlies and professional sports in this city, BCM can help with Grizzlies Twitter and with Grizzlies fans to say Kleiman, Para, and Ja are not enemies here. Like they're not enemies. Like if we could help change the narrative to say we're all working towards the same goal. There is not a single part of me that does not that believes that Jason Wexler and Zach Kleiman and everybody else that's in that Grizzlies front office is not absolutely doing everything they can possibly do to put a parade down Bill Street.
Yeah.
And then we also have a superstar point guard who his tagline when everything was going really well was parade inside my city. Yeah.
That's it.
We all want that. We all are seeking that. The question is can you get past yourself, front office? Can you get past yourself, John Morant, and work together to make this happen? Like that is the ultimate goal for this team and for everybody that's on this team.
And we've seen it done in small markets when everybody gets in unison. Oklahoma City, I think as much as I think it's more of an envy of those Spurs teams from the late 90s, early 2000s when Pop and all those guys in a smaller market were in lockstep unison, all pulling on the same thing. And that's how they created the dynasty, not just because Pop is an all-time great, if not the greatest NBA coach of all time.
Right.
But like he created a culture that nobody was bigger than the culture. Nobody was bigger than the brand. That's part of the problem with having a global superstar, I'm afraid, Kenny, is we've got somebody whose brand is bigger than the Memphis Grizzlies brand, and he's acted like it over the last few years, much to the detriment of the team, and we've allowed it to happen. Now we're trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube, and it doesn't quite work that way. I'm curious to see what this is going to look like. There's going to be growing pains. Like, I think John Morant's going to save face for a couple of weeks, and everything's going to look good. And then everything's going to kind of fall apart. And I just don't know if that's going to be a trend going forward. I hope that we can get a good John Morant for the rest of the season, but I'm curious to see how long this London love is going to last.
I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so I'm going to say it's going to last. I really do. I really think this thing is going to work out. I think it's going to work out for both sides. I think it's going to work out for the Grizzlies as a whole. I think it's going to work out for the city of Memphis. I'm a glass half full guy. And so I'm there. I'm all in.
I hope so.
I'm all in on whatever the Grizzlies decide they want to do. If they get a good trade, a good opportunity, then I think they move, and I'm cool with that. If they don't and they keep Ja Morant, I legitimately think it's going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope so. I am a Grizzlies fan first and foremost, and the best thing for Memphis is Ja Morant playing for Memphis, and I hope that they can work it out. But you talked about a trade. This was circulating. I saw some. Oh, hang on. Yesterday, as I get my scenes kind of screwed up here. There we go. Updated NBA trade block big board per Bleacher Report has Jaren Jackson Jr. as the number one name on the trade block. John Morant's down there at number 9. Trey Murphy, Michael Porter Jr., and these are some other names that are on there. Anthony Davis, other names that are on there. But I was a little bit shocked that Jaren is the number one name on this list. Maybe I shouldn't have been because it is Bleacher Report. And, sometimes they can get a little kind of squirrely in some of their so-called reporting, Kenny. But I found that interesting that Jaren is the number one trade eligible or name atop the trade board in the NBA. Did that surprise you a little bit?
No, because I think you have said it numerous times, and I agree with you. I think the broader NBA values Jaren more than Memphis Grizzlies fans value Jaren. Like, we see the negative, and we see the flaws every single game, and we see all of that. And I would say the broader NBA goes, a 7'1" unicorn who can shoot and is a DPOY candidate almost every single year, hell yeah. Like, I'll take that. Like, the things that we bang Jaren for not being good at are the things that make like 2K the most popular game in the world, right? Like, because you create 2K players and you go, oh, I'm averaging 20, 17, and 7 blocks, and I'm a DPOY and an all NBA, offensive player. Like, yeah, like that would be great. But who else? Who is doing the things that y'all want Jaren to do? Right?
Yeah. It ain't Karl Anthony Towns. I can tell you that. Like, it's good numbers. He has good offensive numbers.
Yeah.
But that dude is a non-entity on defense more often than not. He also can be a bit moody, much like John Morant. And so Cat has been kind of the name that was tossed around because the Grizzlies kicked the tires, very likely as a third team to help get him out of there. But naturally, when Cat is linked to the Grizzlies, Jaren's name is going to come up. Kenny, I guarantee that the New York Knicks front office, fans, and team would be salivating over Jaren Jackson Jr. to be on their team. We just get biases going, and I am pro Jaren, so maybe I see more of the positives in it. But then I also kind of land the same camp as probably 90%, 92% of the NBA when they look at Jaren Jackson Jr. as a net positive on the Memphis Grizzlies. It's easy to put your biases out there and say, oh, Jaren doesn't rebound and Jaren plays away from the paint. Like, to me, nothing tells you you're talking more to a casual basketball fan than when they say Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't rebound. At that point, you get muted on my timeline and our conversation's over because I know we're on different levels looking at Jaren's game. That's not an excuse. It's just not who he is.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I'm being emotional and unrealistic when I say that I would not want Cat on this basketball team. And I would rather keep Jaren Jackson Jr. Is that crazy, or am I being emotional there, Kenny?
No, I don't think. I mean, listen, Cat is a fantastic player. Cat's contract is obnoxious.
Yes.
Obnoxious. And I think that, I mean, he's owed, I think he's got a player extension in 2 seasons for $61 million a year.
Good Lord.
If I'm looking at it right, this year he's making 2 guaranteed years left, 53.1 in 25-26, 57.1 in 26-27, and a $61 million player option for 27 and 28, totaling around $110 million guaranteed plus the option. I just
Lord.
like it on this network. We have talked about over the last couple of years, even when he was in Minnesota, and it was very clear Minnesota was transitioning away from Minnesota being Cat's team to being Anthony Edwards' team, which we all said was the proper move for the Minnesota Timberwolves because Anthony Edwards is a leading guy, right? Cat is not. Cat is number 1, number 2 option, sometimes number 3 option on the New York Knicks, and he's making $57 million to do that. So no, Cat is a fantastic player. He can shoot the hell out of the ball.
Sure.
But I don't think, if the Grizzlies' options are this, you either go once again, double down on Jaren and Ja being the core of your team moving forward, or you go, you do a retool because you have 2 guys who could be cores in Zach Edey and Cedric Howard, and you build around those 2 guys. Not bringing in Cat for a $61 million player option in 2 seasons is not a path forward to make this work well.
And ZK is a lot smarter than that. You look at how we've managed and how he's building this team. There's no world where Cat ends up on this team. It was obviously we kicked the tires and said, hey, if you need help getting him out, we want to get some picks and salary dump, and we want to be a third team. That's for those of you who pay attention, that's clearly what happened. But then it naturally transitioned into this Jaren bashing. We got to get rid of Jaren. He's soft. He ain't got no dog in him. All that kind of stuff. Turns out, neither does Cat. Wayno's right. There is no dog in Cat. He is a cat. Exact. C-A-T. Because that dude ducks smoke. He can get in his feels. He does, like, you're essentially 2K has got people's brains broke because you're trading Jaren for a guy who has the numbers. Yeah, sure, the numbers look better, but if you watch them play, they're the same player. Cat just puts up a few more shots than Jaren does. He can be a bit more assertive offensively. He averages 40, right at just under 40% from three as a 7-footer. So Cat is obviously a better offensive player. But if you watch them play, they're the same player.
Right.
Except Jaren is an elite defender where Cat typically is not. And so it makes no sense to trade Jaren's 40-something, $50 million contract for Cat's massive contract where it's like
$110 million guaranteed contract.
It just doesn't make sense that there's like that's where we're going to land. Like 2K has broke people's brains and maybe we've seen so many bad trades where people are trying to trade John Morant to Miami for Terry Rozier and a block of Italian cheese, whatever his name is. Like maybe we're just getting so caught up in that. But to me, that's a terrible trade, a terrible upgrade when it's a lateral move at best.
Yeah. The majority, like when you see these reports come out that say that the Grizzlies are talking to New York about a Cat trade, might I suggest that most of those things are posturing by agents, posturing by front offices to push the value up. And it might be for pushing the value up for Ja. I think it's pushing the value up for Jaren. I don't think that the Grizzlies are against trading Jaren Jackson Jr. because here's the thing. I think Jaren's trade, his market value is
way
better than John Morant's.
If the Memphis Grizzlies came out and said, we're looking to trade Jaren Jackson Jr. right now, they'd probably get 28, 27 calls for Jaren because he is the kind of like Ja's not a piece that you move that a championship contender would come and get. Jaren is. Detroit, it's like Detroit's been linked multiple times to Jaren that they want Jaren. Like Detroit would instantly be better with Jaren on that team. And so, again, like if you look at how the NBA views Jaren as a whole, it's vastly different than those of us who nitpick over, little things. Last year, sure, I kind of landed on, like most people landed on out on Jake LaRavia, and I nitpicked every little thing that he did. That's where a large portion of our fan base is of Jaren Jackson Jr. But go listen to other teams' broadcasts when we're playing Jaren, and they're like, man, they see him for what he is, a true unicorn that can shoot and defend, that doesn't walk into the NBA every day at 7'1", Kenny.
Yeah. I don't know how to say, I'm sorry. Is it Cohen?
It's Cohen. I had to ask yesterday on the show. It's Cohen.
That is awesome. I have a question. Cohen, do you like Australians? Because I know as a New Zealander, y'all have some beef with Australians, right?
He let it be known yesterday that he was not Australian, that he was a Kiwi. So, like, he let it be known. So, I think there is a little bit of that.
Cohen,
that
if you're
there.
As a New Zealander, if you don't like Australians, then I think I like you because we've got one Australian that I just don't like at all in this chat. He's just obnoxious. I'll show you.
He thinks he's funny.
He thinks he's funny. He tells jokes all the time. He draws pictures. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he draws me as a Sasquatch. Like, I mean, I am a Sasquatch, but he drew me as a Sasquatch.
Not nice. Not a nice guy at all.
Yeah. So I think I lean Team New Zealand here.
Yeah, I'm Team New Zealand. I'm also Team Jaren. I think
as well.
I want what's I have such a soft spot towards Jaren because of his availability, right? Because of how much he plays and the fact that it doesn't matter. You could roll out 5 G Leaguers with him and he still is out there playing and giving it his all. And I appreciate that. And so
I want
Jaren on my team. But if they can get really good value for Jaren, which I think they can, I would not be surprised if you see Jaren and Ja not on this team post this season.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to come back to that. It's like a U.S. Canada. So you mean like we're vastly better than Canada, that New Zealand's vastly better than Australia? Is that what it is? That's what I'm hearing.
That's what.
But to go back to this conversation, like it's going to have to be a whale of a trade for me. I think, like Wayno always says, like I don't think it makes sense trading position for position, trading a power forward for a power forward. But if you could flip Jaren into a couple young wings who have some potential, if you could flip Jaren into, and this is kind of the direction I want to take the conversation after this, like if we call New York and they're like, no, we're not going to do, Cat, we're just trying to move Cat, but they truly blow it up, I would take Mikal Bridges in a heartbeat, like OG Anunoby, either one. I lean a bit more Mikal Bridges, but I like OG Anunoby as well. But like for Jaren, I would want to see like some wings with a massive amount of upside, because you're not trading a malcontent Ja Morant here. You're trading a 7-footer. And I understand you talked about posturing earlier. I'm in real estate. Posturing is everything. I made a call this morning. I got a client from out of town that wants to buy a building here in Memphis. And so when I call that listing agent. When I call, I'm not like, hey, I got a client. He's super interested. He really wants to buy this building. He's ready to move when y'all are ready to make a move. Because they're going to say, cool, well, the asking price is the price, and we're not coming down. I call and I say, hey, this is Rusty. I got a client that's interested in your building over on Colonial. We want to take a look. If the price is right, we would consider a cash offer, but we need to make sure it makes sense, right? You create posture. You come in with like, we're interested, but maybe not. And so I understand like creating posture and leverage there. You don't have to create as much posture and leverage for a guy like Jaren because teams covet him. But if we're just like, hey, we're going to trade him, we lose some of that. The point being, it's going to take some serious wing upside for me if I'm going to trade Jaren. That's just where I'm at.
It's going to take some serious wing upgrade and at least a draft pick in this 2026 first round. Like that.
A good pick.
Like a good pick. Like it, and so here's the problem. Then you're talking to teams that you're not talking to New York, because New York's not going to have a high lottery pick in this 2026 draft.
You're talking to Utah, Brooklyn, Sacramento, Washington, Indiana, like those type teams.
Yeah, you're talking about those teams. You're not talking about New York Knicks, right? You're talking about the teams that are going to be in the lottery already getting their picks. So that's the issue. Because then that makes me sad, because I don't want to see Jaren in Utah. I just don't.
Right. The only way this trade works for me, the only way I would do Mitchell Robertson and Mikal Bridges for Jaren and Jitty is if Ja's already gone. This with Ja doesn't move the needle for me. This would be a trade you make if Ja Morant's already gone. You're kind of resetting. You're taking Mitchell Robertson as a little dump. You're letting Bridges be your vet wing. That would be the only way I would do that trade. Thoughts?
Yeah, I just don't see this happening. Like I don't see them take. I just don't see the Grizzlies making moves like this. I see the Grizzlies making moves for draft capital. That's what I see. So I have a hard time going player for player, because I just don't see the Grizzlies doing that.
Because when have we done that?
Right.
Like I'm trying, we don't do that. What we'll do is we'll move the week before the draft or leading up to the draft. We'll move Brandon Clark, Jalen, GG, some of those type pieces, John Conchar expiring deals to try and move up or aggregate some picks. Then on draft night, we'll try and trade up and go, let's say Caleb Wilson's our guy. We'll try and trade up into the top 5 or trying to trade up into the top 8 to go get a guy that we target as our guy. Maybe it's A-Cuff from Arkansas. Maybe it's like whoever it is. That's ZK's MO. So we can it's fun. I enjoy going on the trade spot or any of these different trade machines. They're a ton of fun. But I've kind of stopped doing them because it just doesn't make a lot of sense when we're not going to do that. That's not who Zach Kleiman's been as a GM. We've got several years of data to prove that. Does he attempt to make trades? Yes. We tried to go get KD and Jimmy Butler, but clearly he sets a firm line that he's not willing to cross. Because I think if we had wanted Kevin Durant or Jimmy Butler, Kenny, we could have got them. I just think we didn't want to get fleeced and go over what we were willing to send out. Does that make sense?
They didn't want to extend Jimmy Butler. They didn't want to extend Jimmy. That was the issue. That's the only reason why Jimmy wanted to be in Memphis. But when Memphis came back and said, we're not going to extend you, Golden State was the only team willing to do that. That's why he ended up there. If the Grizzlies have Ja and Jaren on the trade market, which they do, they are not looking to rebuild this team with veterans. They're looking to rebuild this team with young assets. And
in a deep draft.
In a deep draft. And so here's the thing, and you got to put a dual cap on if you're the Memphis Grizzlies, if you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan. If they keep Ja and Jaren, then they're going to try to make some moves at the trade deadline. Maybe not this trade deadline, fringe moves. If they are moving off of Ja and Jaren, they're not fringe moving, they are rebuilding the core. So it's two different things here, two different paths of a reset, if you will, around Ced and Zach and building the core around them, or it's fringe moves around the edges to rebuild around, or to really focus in on Ja and Jaren. Those are the two options. That's the two paths they're going on.
And neither of them land with unfortunately, Mikal Bridges, Cat,
Right.
Jonathan Kuminga, any of these names you see, unfortunately, that there's not a world where either of those paths start or include a trade for a big contract, a big asset, a big player like that. Because A, we're a small market. It doesn't happen. B, that's not ZK's MO. And it would wreck the timeline and wreck your flexibility should you bring on a stupid contracts like Cat. In the end, then what? Now you're stuck. You've got this massive $110 million guaranteed. How are you going to build around that timeline then? And I wouldn't want Cat taking away minutes from Zach Edey. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Listen, I don't think ZK is in survival mode at all. This whole Ja Morant situation has shown me that I said at the beginning of the season, and I'm going to walk this back, that Zach Kleiman went all in, pushed all the chips in on the Tomas Isolo hire. That was the final boss move of, if this doesn't work, then Zach is done. I'm walking that back completely based off of this Ja Morant last week, because a GM in his survival mode doesn't dangle the franchise player and say, we're open to trades now. They just don't do that. They are going to, hey, listen, this is not my money. This is play coupons for me. We're going to extend Ja, because automatically that buys you goodwill, right? With everybody, because of course Ja Morant's an extension player, a max extension player. A guy who's not on a hot seat says, hey, you know what? F around and find out. Ja, we're putting you on we're open to hearing about trades.
A guy on the hot seat doesn't flop it on the table and say, this is where we're at, right?
Hey,
that's a big dick move.
I'm standing my ground.
Yeah, right? Exactly right. Exactly right. And so what I think is, and kind of follow that up, Kenny, do you think, it's well known that superstars and players have pull in what team, like who they go after, how they build teams. Do you think that, say Ja sticks around, we decide to retool around Ja and Jaren, how much, if any, do you think Ja's going to have say, Jaren's going to have say? Do you think they're going to help with that retool around them? Because clearly what we've done hasn't necessarily worked. Do you think that they would have some pull in that?
I don't buy those reports at all. That Ja is upset about the roster moves. That is not what he's upset about. Like this, because this team, Zach has built a team around Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. that I agree. Like you can hate on this roster and whatever. I agree with Anthony saying when he says this is the best roster that they've had around Ja and Jaren since they've been here at Memphis. I firmly agree with that.
Real quick, breaking news. I hate the feeling I get when a Grizz PR notification pops up, but Santi Aldama is doubtful tonight against Atlanta. So on that Bucks best bet, you can leave off Santi Aldama since he's not going to play. I would take the under on Jalen Wells to replace Santi Aldama in that bet.
So I was projecting the fact that Santi was probably out, and we're going to add Jalen to that bet, and we're going to go under on Jalen.
While you do that, I'm going to pull up what those odds would be. As you're talking, I'm so rudely interrupted, but
no, you're good.
You were talking about you don't buy that Ja is upset with the roster construction.
No, I don't buy that at all. Like I don't think those reports are. I don't think that's real at all. I think Ja is the thing. None of this would be a problem if they had extended Ja over the summer. Like none of this would have been a problem.
So you think it's fully about the contract?
100% about the contract. 1,000% about the contract. So do I think that Ja is going to have a say in personnel moves? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
So I kind of land on the same. You can't bet on Jalen's total. It's not listed on FanDuel, but if you do Ja over, Sed over, Cam over, it's plus 655. So you can still go win some money if you just take Santi off.
Take Santi off that.
You're good. You're good. I do think knowing Ja Morant, I think there could be a little bit of roster construction. I think it could be a part of it, but knowing Ja Morant, like I know after watching him now, his entire career, his moodiness, his like introvertedness, selfishness, it is absolutely about the contract. Like it is absolutely that they paid Jaren first, that they haven't paid him yet, that he's not getting extended. I don't mean this disrespectful to anybody, maybe a little bit, but I think Ja is probably Ja is very much viewed in his circle as a paycheck and a paycheck only. So they're pushing for him to get extended, pushing for him to get that money coming in. This is not about roster construction. This is clearly about Ja Morant's in his feels that he didn't get extended like Jaren did, and he's pouting, and he wanted to go where the grass and the money was greener. And this trade conversation, I think, hopefully, is the wake-up call he needs that, oh my God, I'm not, my shit does stink. I'm not as viewed as highly on the open market as I thought I was. I need to get my scrawny ass in gear, play in Memphis, get extended in Memphis, and stick around the 901 because I'm not wanted elsewhere like I thought I was.
Well, I mean, he made moves this offseason that kind of proves where he thought he was as a player in terms of contract extensions. He fired an agent, an agency, and hired an upstart group of guys, the Lotus Network or whatever it's called, that's owned by his uncle and his security guy. Like you only do that when you feel like the contract negotiations are done, right? Like when they're not even really like there's no debate on what you're a max guy. Okay, we're going to extend you, right? Like you only make those moves. And so clearly this was all about the contract. And so, yeah, I don't think that there's any background of, I don't think there's any like fear of, well, look at OKC and I'm jealous of what OKC has. Like, come on, man. That's silly.
He told you he had him figured out. Like he ain't jealous.
Yeah.
He had him figured out.
Last
season, I believe him.
Last season they were up by 30 when he went down. Lou Dort took him out of the air. Like they were up by 30 and they ended up losing that game, obviously. But that was
100% believe that the combination of Zach Edey and Ja Morant had figured out OKC, and that was about to be a series. Like I truly believe. I don't know that we'd have walked out of there with a 7-game series win, but that was about to be a series. It was going to be competitive.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, we're at hour 15. I got some meetings I got to get to this afternoon, Kenny. So we'll punt college football again to tomorrow. The Memphis Grizzlies do play tonight again at home. Not going to bury that lead. We'll circle all the way back. They're a 1.5 favorite over on FanDuel, minus 126 on the money line, with an opportunity to extend the winning streak to 2 against the Hawks tonight, who I feel like is a peer to this team and a good opportunity for us to go get a win, Kenny. Anything else? Any other thoughts about the game tonight or the Ja Morant drama?
No thoughts. No thoughts about that. But the Memphis Tigers do play tonight against Tulsa. Big time game. It's not going to be as fun, I don't think, as the Memphis Grizzlies game will be. But they're on the road against Tulsa. And tonight we have, I don't have the graphic in here. I can get it real fast.
I'm going to play the commercial on the way out the door since we didn't get to it today. So the graphic will be in the commercial on the way out the door.
We're doing a watch party tonight at Mugshots out in Collierville. It starts at 7:00. The game starts at 7. Rusty, the cool part about it is this is the first watch party we've done at Mugshots where instead of having the TVs on the side, there's going to be a massive projector screen where we normally sit up to do Tigers Live. There's going to be a massive projector screen there, playing over the game's going to be played over the sound system. Come out and hang out with us at 7:00 tonight. You're about to be locked in the house for the next 7 days, Rusty.
Yeah.
Come out and watch the game with us at Mugshots out in Collierville at 7:00. Going to be a lot of fun. And there are rumors. So Roman and I will be there. We'll do a Tigers Live immediately after the show or after the game at Mugshots. Trey Lasley from Tigers Untapped said he's coming out.
Let's go. Shout out Trey. Mr. G5 himself.
If you've never watched a game with Trey Lasley, I can't tell you how much fun it is. The guy is a nut job. And so come hang out with us. We're going to have a good time.
Absolutely. It's always fun. The food is great. The apps are great. You won't leave hungry. If you do, it's your own fault. Shout out to John Dean and the gang out there for getting the projector together. It's going to be a good time. Y'all go turn out. In the meantime, for Kenny Stubblefield, I am Rusty Witten. We are live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central here on Bluff City Media's YouTube channel, chopping it up about the Grizzlies, college football, buffoonery like we started with today. You never know what you're going to get with us. Y'all make sure y'all go out tonight to Mugshots Grill and Bar. It's going to be a ton of fun. Tune into the Anthony Sain show at 1:00. Sain has been in his bag about this Ja Morant drama, malcontent, conversation. Y'all tune in at 1. It's been banger after banger.
He's the show today. He's tapping into the old youth group Southern Baptist side. The title of the show is called WWJD.
Oh, let's go. I had that bracelet. I used to wear that bracelet. Oh, I had a hunter green bracelet that WWJ I wore for like 4 years. That thing was funky. It was falling apart.
If you grew up in church, WWJD, and you're my age, WWJD was the phrase that dominated your high school and probably college life. And today, Anthony wants to ask the question: What WWJD? What would Ja do?
Let's go! I cannot wait. Tune in at 1 o'clock. In the meantime, go be a friend of somebody who needs a friend, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
In Memphis, we know a thing or two about resilience. From the grindhouse to the Delta, we protect what's ours. But when pests invade your home, it's time to fight back. Grade A Pest knows how to handle what crawls, flies, and bites. With local experience and guaranteed results.
I'm Reggie with Grade A Pest Control. We service the Memphis metro area. That also includes DeSoto and Fayette County as well.
Grade A Pest has the entire Mid-South covered. So if bugs and pests put you to the test, let Grade A solve your problem. Memphis Tiger fans, this one matters. Wednesday night, the Tigers take on Tulsa in a game that could shake up the entire top of the American Conference standings. First place is crowded, every win counts. So you should join us for the Bluff City Media Watch Party at Mugshots Grill and Bar in Collierville. Big screens, cold drinks, great food, and Tiger fans taking over the room. High stakes and conference tournament seating on the line, Memphis versus Tulsa. So let's clear up the standings together. See you at Mugshots. In Memphis, nothing comes easy, and that's exactly how we like it. This is a city built on hustle, on heart, on grit. And at Carway, our rides are built the same way. Tough, reliable, ready for the grind. No games, no gimmicks, just Memphis-style service. Real, honest, and built on trust. Where grit meets grind, you meet your next ride. Carway, grit, grind, and Pink Beetles. Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We'll see you back here next time.